The story begins with a young boy named Vasili, who was being trained to use a sniper rifle by his grandfather. At the time, they were in a cold region of Russia where Vasili's grandfather tied their horse at a spot to lure a wolf, intending for Vasili to shoot it down with his rifle. However, when the moment came, Vasili became nervous and missed his shot. Due to this mistake, the wolf killed their horse. The story then moves to the year 1942, as the Second World War was on the verge of starting. By now, Vasili had grown up and joined the Russian army, preparing to face the Nazi German forces with his comrades. The Russian troops were traveling by train toward a German-occupied city. Meanwhile, under Hitler's leadership, the German forces had taken over most of Europe, capturing all the continent's oil wells. Their next mission was to invade Russia, but their biggest challenge was the city of Stalingrad. To proceed, the German army had to conquer this city first. On the other hand, the Russian soldiers also arrived in Stalingrad. The Russian commanders issued a stern order to their troops, warning them that any soldier who tried to flee the battle would be shot dead by their comrades. The only way to survive was to drive the German forces out. After this, the officers ordered the soldiers to board boats and cross the river to the other side, where the German forces awaited. However, as they approached the river, they saw it was filled with the corpses of their fellow soldiers, which terrified them. As the boats neared the shore, German planes launched an intense bombing and gunfire attack. Many Russian soldiers were killed, and several boats sank. By sheer luck, Vasili managed to cross the river and reach the shore. A few other boats also successfully made it across. Upon reaching the shore, the officers distributed weapons to the soldiers, but due to the attack, they were short on supplies. The officers commanded that 2 soldiers share one weapon and instructed them to kill German soldiers to seize their weapons. Vasili received only bullets, while his friend got a rifle. To arm himself, Vasili would need to kill a German soldier. When the officers signaled the attack, the Russian troops charged at the Germans. In retaliation, the Germans launched a brutal bombing campaign, causing significant losses to the Russians. During this chaos, Vasili's friend was killed, and Vasili tried to take his rifle. However, another soldier shoved him aside and took the rifle instead. The German forces were overpowering the Russians, forcing them to retreat. But as they turned back, their officers shot at them for abandoning the battle. Eventually, after the fight ended, the Germans captured Stalingrad. The city was now filled with the corpses of Russian soldiers, and crows and vultures feasted on them. Amidst this grim scene, a vehicle sped into the area. The Germans attacked it, causing it to overturn. From the wreck emerged a Russian man named Danilov, who worked as a courier delivering newspapers to Russian troops. Before the German soldiers could capture him, Danilov quickly hid among the corpses to make it seem like he was dead. When the Germans came searching, they fired indiscriminately at the bodies to ensure no one survived. By luck, Danilov was not hit by any bullets. However, the stench of the decaying corpses made him vomit. As Danilov crawled forward, he spotted a German officer bathing nearby. He decided to pick up a gun from the corpses and shoot him. But just as he was about to fire, another man emerged from the bodies. It was Vasili. Vasili stopped Danilov from shooting, explaining that the sound of the gunshot would alert the German forces. Instead, Vasili suggested waiting for a missile strike so the sound of the explosion would mask the gunfire. He even gave bullets to Danilov for his gun. However, Danilov was now scared to fire the weapon, fearing the Germans might hear. He handed the gun to Vasili, asking him to kill the officer. Vasili took the gun and spotted a vehicle approaching with reinforcements for the officer. Vasili waited for the missile strike, and as soon as the explosion occurred, he used the noise to mask the sound of his shot and killed the commander. No one heard the gunfire. Taking advantage of the next explosion, Vasili killed another German soldier. But one of the soldiers spotted him and threw a bomb in his direction. Before the bomb could reach him, Vasili shot and killed the soldier. Now, only one German soldier remained. He tried to run to alert the others, but Vasili stood up and shot him dead with precise aim. Danilov was deeply impressed by Vasili's marksmanship and bravery. The two of them reached the Russian headquarters, where Danilov wrote an article in the newspaper about Vasili's heroic actions, detailing how he had killed 4 German soldiers and 1 German commander. Vasili felt proud upon reading the article. Soon, Nikita Khrushchev, a close associate of Russian leader Stalin, arrived at the headquarters. He was furious with the Russian commander for leading the soldiers into a slaughter. Khrushchev warned the commander that if Stalin learned what had happened, he would have him executed. He advised the commander to flee quietly. As Khrushchev left the commander's office, they heard gunshots and realized the commander had been killed. Khrushchev then asked the officers how they planned to boost the soldiers' morale to reclaim Stalingrad from the Nazis. Danilov suggested promoting soldiers who had bravely faced the Germans, as this would inspire the others. Khrushchev liked the idea and decided to implement it. Soon after, Danilov rushed to Vasili with the news that both of them had been promoted. The story of Vasili's bravery, published in the newspaper, gained widespread admiration across the country. After becoming a sniper, Vasili killed 33 German soldiers and forced 13 German commanders to resign. One day, Vasili aimed at a German commander but missed his shot when a child suddenly appeared in his line of fire. This child, named Sasha, was a Russian boy who considered Vasili his hero after hearing stories of his bravery. Sasha brought Vasili to his home, where his mother warmly welcomed him. Shortly after, Danilov and a beautiful woman named Tanya arrived. Tanya was Sasha's neighbor and secretly worked to protect civilians from German forces. She was fluent in German, and Danilov instantly fell for her. However, Tanya admired Vasili for his courage. Meanwhile, a German commander invited the world's best sniper, Koenig, to eliminate the Russian sniper. When Koenig arrived at the German military headquarters, the commander briefed him about Vasili's actions and tasked him with killing the Russian sniper. Koenig quickly got to work, and news spread that a German sniper had killed 5 Russian soldiers with exceptional precision. One night, as Vasili was sleeping, his friend woke him up and mentioned a problem in the storage area. Vasili, along with 2 others, went to investigate. He spotted someone lying behind a window and shot at him. But upon approaching, he realized it was just a dummy. Meanwhile, a German sniper killed the 3rd soldier who had stayed downstairs. Noticing a cigarette on the ground, Vasili realized another sniper was nearby. During this time, German planes bombarded Stalingrad with bombs and missiles. One of Vasili's companions panicked and ran, but the German sniper cleverly killed him as well. Vasili remained hidden in the building during the bombardment. Koenig, now reading a newspaper, asked Sasha, who was polishing his boots, to translate the article about Vasili. Sasha, being an innocent child, revealed that he was a huge fan of Vasili and inadvertently gave Koenig critical information, and he has already met him. On the other hand, Vasili reached the military headquarters, where Danilov was already present. There, he met another sniper named Kalikov, who had also been trained in marksmanship by the same German sniper, Koenig. Soon after, Vasili met Danilov and informed him that both of his comrades had been killed. He explained that the sniper attacking them kept changing positions, so he couldn't identify him. Danilov immediately realized that this sniper could only be Koenig. Danilov told Vasili that Koenig knew everything about him and had come here with the sole purpose of killing him. The next day, Vasili dreamed about the same childhood incident where a wolf killed a horse. Suddenly, Kalikov woke him up, saying he had just seen an undercover sniper. They both went to investigate, only to find that the enemy had attacked, so they immediately rushed out of the building. During this escape, German soldiers shot arrows at them, but they managed to flee unharmed. Afterward, Vasili cut the signal wires so the German soldiers couldn't call reinforcements. While moving from one location to another, they spotted a German soldier trying to fix the signal wires. However, it wasn't a German soldier but one of their own comrades, whom Koenig had captured, dressed in German uniform, and sent to repair the wires. Kalikov mistakenly shot their comrade, thinking he was an enemy soldier. Vasili and Kalikov planned to change their location again, but first checked if Koenig was nearby. They devised a plan, removing their helmets, hoping Koenig would aim for the helmets, giving away his position. But Koenig didn't fire, so they assumed he wasn't around. As they jumped to another location, Koenig killed Kalikov. Vasili barely escaped and returned to headquarters, where he told Danilov that he couldn't kill Koenig because he was a much better sniper. Danilov encouraged him, promising to gather intelligence about Koenig. Meanwhile, Koenig bribed the young boy Sasha with sweets to gather all the information about Vasili. Koenig then silently entered the building where Vasili was expected to arrive and hid there, waiting for him. Vasili suspected that Koenig would ambush him and chose to move through the ventilation pipes. Koenig heard the sound from the pipes and waited for someone to emerge. When Vasili's companion stepped out, Koenig killed him. Vasili managed to hide behind an engine, but in the rush, he dropped his rifle. He instructed his injured comrade to return to headquarters and used a knife tied to a rope to retrieve his gun. However, Koenig shot the rope, cutting it in two. At that moment, German planes began bombing the area, causing glass to fall everywhere. One piece of glass reflected Vasili's image, and Koenig began watching him intently. The injured soldier reached headquarters and informed Tanya about Vasili's condition. Daniilov noticed Tanya's concern for Vasili. Unable to hold back, Tanya decided to help Vasili and moved through the ventilation pipes to reach him. As she was about to step out of the pipes, Vasili stopped her. Vasili told Tanya about Koenig's location and instructed her to angle a mirror toward him so he could see Koenig. Tanya did as he asked, and Vasili aimed his rifle and shot Koenig in the hand. They both returned to headquarters, where Vasili was praised for hitting Koenig with a single shot. Later, Vasili met Daniilov and requested that he not publish anything about him in the newspaper because he wanted to fight anonymously, like the other soldiers. Daniilov argued that Vasili was an extraordinary sniper and his bravery inspired other soldiers. Daniilov then called Sasha, who had been spying on Koenig for them. Sasha told Vasili that when he cleaned Koenig's boots, he noticed yellow dust on them, the kind of soil found only at a chemical factory. Sasha was thrilled to spy for the Russian army, but Vasili was furious at Daniilov for putting a child in danger. Sasha took Vasili to the chemical factory Koenig visited. Vasili hid among a pile of corpses, waiting for Koenig. However, he fell asleep, and Koenig walked right past him. Meanwhile, the German army launched an attack on the city. A German soldier was looting wallets from dead bodies when Koenig noticed Vasili lying among the corpses. He tried to shoot Vasili but couldn't as the looting soldier was in the way. Later, the German army caught the looter and found Vasili's wallet, concluding that he was already dead. Koenig was ordered to pack up, as his mission was deemed complete. When the Russian commander heard of Vasili's death, he was enraged. Daniilov reassured him that Vasili was still alive. The commander emphasized that even a false rumor of Vasili's death could demoralize the troops, so he ordered Daniilov to hide Vasili's photograph in the newspaper. Daniilov told Tanya that Vasili wouldn't return to headquarters, but he didn't reveal that Vasili had spread the rumor of his death. Later, Tanya heard the news of Vasili's death on German radio and was devastated. Meanwhile, Koenig visited Sasha to have his boots cleaned. Sasha, having heard of Vasili's death, was crying. Koenig consoled him, saying, "Don't cry, child. He's still alive." He then told Sasha to go home and return the next morning at the train station. Sasha immediately reported this to Daniilov. The next morning, Vasili arrived at the train station, where he saw Tanya. Surprised, he asked how she knew he would come. Tanya explained that Sasha had told her. She emotionally confessed that although she heard the news of his death on German radio, she knew he was alive. The two grew closer. Meanwhile, Sasha arrived at the station to meet Vasili, but Koenig was already waiting for him. Koenig had deduced that Sasha was a Russian spy. Moments later, Tanya used her binoculars to witness a horrifying sight: Sasha's lifeless body hanging brutally from a pipe. She realized Koenig had killed him. Tanya was deeply shaken by Sasha's death, but Vasili promised to avenge him by killing Koenig. As the German soldiers entered the city, the Russian troops placed Sasha's mother on a boat to cross the river. She refused, saying she wouldn't leave without her son. Daniilov lied, telling her Sasha had betrayed them and joined the German army, hiding the fact that he was dead. While fleeing, a missile hit near Tanya, severely injuring her. Sasha's mother took Tanya on a boat to a hospital for treatment, leaving a note for her deceased son, saying she was crossing the river and asking him to follow when he could. Daniilov later reached Vasili at the train station, where Vasili was waiting for Koenig. Daniilov informed him of Tanya's death, leaving Vasili heartbroken. Daniilov risked his life to locate Koenig so Vasili could kill him. Koenig, believing he had killed Vasili, approached to confirm, only to find Vasili standing before him with a rifle. Resigned to his fate, Koenig saluted Vasili for his bravery before Vasili shot him. Vasili then placed Koenig's rifle on Danielov's body to honor his sacrifice. 2 months later, the Russian army defeated the Germans. Vasili went to the hospital and found Tanya alive. Overjoyed, he reunited with her. Later, the Russian army placed Vasili's rifle in the Stalingrad museum to honor him. Vasili and Tanya married and lived a happy life.